Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly appreciate that. Thank you to my subscribers and followers. Please share it with your friends and family as well. If you come across the channel, please don't leave without hitting the subscription and the likes, as we've built an integral Habs channel here that takes great pride in focusing on factual information, not falling for rumors. And we take great pride in that. And also, we don't run off of clickbait. So now we're going to get to Saturday night's review. Yes, I should have done this probably yesterday, but life has been a little busy. Plus, we had more breaking news. Anyway, we're going to do the review of Saturday night's game. Boston was in town to Montreal, and at least we had a respectable game. That's much better than some of the games we seen last year with the Bruins. We've been blown out by them. So it was a 3-2 final for Boston, to be expected, I would say. Um, we're going to give shots and we'll get into other facts. All right. And Boston, exceptional on the penalty kill set. They killed 7 penalties of 7. So they've been pretty hot on that, and held off the Montreal Canadiens doing so. So, first period, we had 10 shots to 7 for the Bruins, 12 shots to 7 for the Canadiens in the second period, 9 to 6 for the Canadiens in the third, for a total of 28 to 23 for the Habs, who outshot the Bruins. But yet, the Bruins came out on top. Scoring, there was a goal apiece in the first, and then there was 2-1 in the second. No scoring in the third. Your final score that gave you a 3-2 victory for the Boston Bruins. And this was an interesting game. I will get into more facts, but I'm going to give you some more stats, and then we'll get right to it. We shots, like I said, 28 to 23 for the Canadiens. Face-offs, 58.9 to 41.1 for the Bruins. Power play, 20% for the Bruins. 0 for the Habs. We were terrible on our power play. I don't know what's gone. It's gone totally. Playing with the puck far too much, trying to be too pretty, too cute. Penalty minutes, 30 to 26. That was a very penalty-filled game. 27 hits apiece. Block shots, 22 to 16 for the Habs. Giveaways, 14 to 10 for the Bruins. Takeaways, 7 to 5 for the Habs. So with that being said, that gave you your final 3-2 victory. So at least, like I said, it was a fun, well, at least respectable game, and that I take some. Uh, I take the better notes of it. We ended up losing Kirby Dach in this game, though. This is becoming a major issue. I'm sorry to say this because I like Kirby Dach. He's glass, just like I think I mentioned that with as much as I love Caden Gooley. It's the same problem. These kids possess so much talent, but when you're going out for 6 to 8 weeks, every injury, and it's quite frequent, I think there becomes a point where you have to think about moving on. And I'm sorry, but I think I hate to say this, now we've learned that he's gone down for 6 to 8 weeks. This is crazy. We knew the extension that Caden Gooley was extended another, I believe, somewhere from 6 to 10 weeks again. More. We thought he was coming back, getting close to coming back. And that must have been more extensive of an injury than we had been told. So that is not good. The Habs you're going to have some problems now. They're bringing up Waugh. I'm sorry to say this. I mean, and I like Davidson. He played fairly respectable in that against the Bruins. He had some chances. I like what he has. I don't see anybody else down in Laval. That's like, I'm sorry. I think Waugh ship. We got too many players like that. They'll use these guys to fill in voids. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to be the answer. I don't think that Montreal can keep thinking that you're going to plug it in with uh, third and fourth liners. The time's come. And I'm sorry to say this, but Kirby Dach is missing too much of his development time for what they had hoped for him. It's just not going to get on track. This is happening continually. And I love this kid, but it's evident. he will never get the development time in because he's hurt extensively all the time. And it seems like Caden's headed in that direction himself. These guys are not going to be able to get into a groove. Kirby's have been more extensive and affected his game more so than Caden's, but Caden keeps going down too. So it's alarming right now with all the injuries happening to the Habs at the moment. And I honestly put my spin on it is the Habs have to make a move now. The ship has got to be. I mean, yes, you can sign Kirby for a third, fourth liner, and see if he can progress down the road. I don't see it. This is just too. He's not your second line center anymore. No chance. I had hoped he was when he first came to Montreal. He looked like he could have been uh, a first line center, but we haven't seen him play to that potential ever since his first injury in Montreal with that knee. So he's lost that, and he's never been the same. He was just starting to come on a little bit and play pretty half decent, respectable hockey this year, and that's the sad part of it. Every time he gets close, something else happens. So with that being said, I think that management has to make a move unless all that hard work, because now they're starting to slide down the standings, and it doesn't take much. If you wait too long, I'm sorry, I don't think these plugins are going to get you through this. You're going to need to up the ante, and it's time to bring somebody in that you actually get a second line center to try to salvage this season and move on with the future until we have some of these youngsters get to that level. But for the short term, you've got to bring up a second line center that can at least do 3 to 4 years, and allows a youngster like Hage to come up and slowly work his way in, but and work his way up on the lines. But that would alleviate that. You got to do something now. If management keeps pussyfooting around, just bringing the kids up that aren't ready, or are just duplicates and triplicates of other style of players, and that's really what Waugh and Beck are. Sorry to say that. I see these two as we have players like that, and I'm not saying that these two at least I think could be NHLers. I just think that we have too many of them in Montreal. We need some size and grit, and we're kind of desperate for it. That was one thing that I can say is Boston really gave it to us. You could see the size difference made a difference. The two fights we got our asses handed to us. Struble got his power to him for taking on the fight was Zadorov, but hands down the size difference was huge. Zadorov clearly easily. Uh, Took that decision so easily. It wasn't even close. Jack, I don't know, man. I'm getting really disappointed in what I've been seeing in his last few fights. This is not an elite fighter anymore. I think he's been um, to the point where he is of more importance to as a defenseman, but he's not the enforcer that it's been marked up to be. He showed better signs earlier in his career here in his early years, but right now he seems to be losing to everybody. That fight against Janot, wasn't even close. That's 2 fights in a row now. He got his tush handed to him. I'm sorry to say, but I think he needs some work with Chris Nyland. I even think Struble should have that too. I think a few of the guys should be going into a little bit of a program. Get Chrissy out of, and I'm sure Chris Nyland he's made it clear on some of the podcasts he does on what is it, Habs, HO, whatever they call it, with Stu Cowan. Um, I think it would be a wise move because Jack Eye is not the scrapper we thought he was. Struble could use lessons, but these two both could. And I think more players should learn too. I think guys even like Slavkovsky, I think it would be good to have a little bit of a program to teach these guys how to fight. But let's be real. We don't have a fighter on this team that's elite. And I love Jack Eye, but he's missed several steps. There's too many players. He's not even in my book, the top 10 fighters in the league. For me, he's maybe just after that, but he's not top 10 material. Not anymore. So he's lost a few steps in that department, and it's probably because he's trying to stay on the ice. But anyway, with that all being said, go Habs go. We've got Columbus in tonight. That's going to be a tough game, especially with the injuries we have. That could go either way. And Montreal's got to snap this losing streak because the boys have been playing bad, and at least they played respectable against Boston. Let's hope they can turn the tide. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the review against Columbus Blue Jackets. Go Habs go. Catch you then.